Hello everyone, welcome back to this Let's Play series. We'll be carrying on from our last episode and continue this campaign with Aragorn. Let's just load the game here for a moment. And see how things progress. So here we are. Last episode we had just restarted our colony, which got burned down. Our personal physician is now excellent, so we can switch from improving skills to advanced research to increase the lifestyle experience gain by a little bit. We're currently doing 54 a month. Out of curiosity, she gives us an extra 2. I'll take it, that's fine. Our income is still not great. It's the year 3010. Balin is gone. Apparently the skin changers have been expanding a little bit. Overlord Kamul here, who is one of Sauron's Nazgul, is struggling a little bit. He doesn't have full control of Dol Guldur. Galadriel is doing fine. Her army is not that great either, but she's in a good place, and Elvish troops are typically better than whatever Mordor can recruit. Mordor has succeeded in conquering Ithilien, so now it's being controlled by evil Gondorians in service to Sauron, which is rather unpleasant, I would imagine. However, most of the people we were tracking are still alive and well. We'll see if Sauron launches his invasion that will break the Kingdom of Gondor, if it is successful or not. Ideally, if there's still a Gondor, the High Kingdom of Gondor, if it still exists by the time we take over the kingdom, then we will be able to continue with this campaign. If not, I'll just play one off screen and what is this? If not, I'll just play one off screen and I'll resume the series from the point where Aragorn would inherit the kingdom. So let's see if we get a martial trait here. We are trying to improve troops. This is to get out of this event. And who is this? This is just an automatically generated character. I don't care about him. You abandon your search. I don't want to abandon. When we'll march. If this is the only way, let's see if we can apply our logistics here. I'll eat the fame, that's fine. We have a lot of fame banked up. We will lose the opinion here. Who are you? You're just a random guy. Yeah, that's fine. And we got an extra perk in martial tree. So we only have 4 more skills to go before we can switch the lifestyle. We are gonna do another hunt in Rudauer. We're gonna get another courtier here. I think in the last episode I called them couriers instead, which, yeah, well, you know, Not great, but English is not my first language, so mistakes will creep up every now and again. We're getting here another elf who's actually quite high in fighting, so we'll keep him around. That's actually quite nice. He does seem to have a brother somewhere. Uh, his liege lord is in the kingdom of Lindon. That's fine. We're gonna do another hunting route tower. Hopefully this time around we'll prevent any debuffs to our territory. Um, I'll attack the orcs myself. And the highest chance is for me to personally lead it. This time around it failed. We'll try to distract the trolls again, I think. There we are, let's see if it works. It worked. You want to play a game. Okay, let's play a quick game. Martial is countered by intrigue, intrigue is countered by learning, and learning is countered by martial. He has better stats across the board, I think, other than martial, which is countered by intrigue, so we're gonna have to play this martial. And I actually win the game. That's nice. Should lower our stress a little bit. Fenas Dronin is safe. Let's grab the next point. And now we'll be in a situation where we need to gather gold because the historical endeavor, we can fire this in 5 years. We need to get 130 gold for it, which is gonna take some time to gather. And by the time we fire that particular event, we then need to start gathering gold to recruit at least 1 unit of wardens and 1 unit of outriders. The wardens are spearmen. They have very good stats. They only counter cavalry of light, heavy, and camel types. Yes, that's fine. The Outriders are light cavalry. They also have very decent stats. They counter archers and skirmishers. They get bonuses and debuffs in their particular types of terrain. This... let's see. Let's see if we can find out the truth. Bandits were cleared. I do not have enough gold to improve this. We won't be focusing it at the moment. This is slowly gonna increase in development. It needs to have development 3 to be settled properly anyway. We could increase the development level by sending our steward there. But since we need to fully upgrade the settlement, I don't have enough gold, we'll be waiting around for that for a while. When the game does not want to do me any favors. Apparently the colony now has the plague. So we could bring them to our settlement to heal them. It has the lowest chance of destroying the colony. I could send people, which has a slightly higher chance to destroy the colony. However, that would cost 150 gold, which I don't have. Or I could quarantine the colony, which more than likely will destroy it. So instead, what we will do we will go to our healer here. We'll try control plagues, and we'll bring those afflicted in our settlement. And hopefully our courtiers are not sick. Did anyone get the plague? Nobody got the plague, so that was the right choice. The colony is intact, albeit it has a disease outbreak which is slowing everything down, not that it particularly matters at this point. Right, so apparently we're gonna get experienced rider for 10 years. And apparently we're gonna gain a warhorse. That's good. We will give this warhorse a name inspired from mythology. We're gonna name it. You have a bunch of options available here, some of them more evil, some of them more good. We're gonna go for the good ones, I think. We're gonna name the warhorse after the greatest bowman of the first age, like the arrow favored by Beleg. So we're gonna name him after an arrow, which makes sense for a horse. Another skill point, we're burning through the military skill traits. Unfortunately, the warhorse is probably going to get sick, so we're gonna get to spend money on the warhorse and training the warhorse, but it's actually worth it because if you take the right options for the warhorse, it would increase a bunch of stats that are good to be increased. What is happening here? The situation is stable here for now. They're still in a truce for a year and a half. Still not great that Denethor has managed to lose Ithilien. And apparently the Witch King is attacking for the kingdom of Anorion. And Denethor looks like he's losing this one as well. Now, Sauron has the Nazguls around. One of them is ruling in Dol Guldur. It's the second most powerful Nazgul. He has the rest of his Nazguls around in Mordor, with the Witch King in control of quite a bit of land, most of it in Ithilien. He does control Minas Morgul, which is the sister city of Minas Tirith. He has his own kingdom under Sauron, and he also has access to some pretty strong troops. Very well, you can serve me. Which he actually did not recruit. He does have house guards though, which are good to have. What is this? Another courtier. And this one is good at what? Being a steward. I will take that, and we will swap the steward for the Noldor elf, who's 5,000 years old. Ah, excellent. Mordor, in particular, Dol Guldur, has managed to take Minas Tirith. So we will have to load a different game. However, I will load it from the point where I cut off this episode. What is this? Another courtier, Farin. It doesn't particularly matter. I'll accept. We're probably not gonna have the same courtiers available anyway. Brave. 5 years supply limit. That won't matter. Let's Let's explore the temple. Dagger. You gained the Dagger of Mighty Prayer. The Dagger of Mighty Prayer. Really? I did not. What is this? You gained the Dagger of Mighty Prayer artifact. Go for the foreign affairs focus, I think. Simply to get access to defensive negotiations, flexible truces, and forced vassalage. And then we'll probably switch to a different skill tree. Now, this game has quite a bit of lore implemented into it. We can actually check out Aragorn's Dynasty tree, which is quite large. He gets a bunch of ancestors in here. He's not the only one. There are a lot of people who appear with their own distinct faction trees, dynasty trees. And we can see that among Aragorn's ancestors, we start to have the kings of Arthedain, which is a kingdom that's part of the High Kingdom of Arnor. The High Kingdom of Arnor broke down into separate kingdoms at some point, 3 separate kingdoms. So the last one to hold the High Kingdom of Arnor was High King Erendor. He had 3 sons and apparently a daughter. Each son took control of one separate kingdom, Cardolan, Uldaur, and Arthedain. There's quite a bit of a story there as well. And here we can see Isildur is um, among his ancestors. And his father Elendil is there. I was mentioning earlier that we will have to heal the warhorse. There's the heal. And this is the point where we get the historical endeavor. So it is the 6th of the 2nd in 3016. And at this point, I'm gonna pause the recording and go through another playthrough and try to reload it from this point in the game just before, or roughly in the same period, to get through the second historical endeavor. There will be a few slightly different things. The skills will probably be different. We probably won't have the same courtiers available. Um, During the first historical endeavor, we'll probably have different traits fire as well. Maybe we'll have some better ones if we're lucky. The only reason I'm doing this, excuse me, the only reason I'm doing this is because I do not want Mordor to take control of Anorion, and we can see that the Witch King now controls the overlordship of Anorion. It gets a new icon as well. So I'll see you in a bit. So here we are. Just a quick thing. We had an event fire while this was still a colony, where this particular individual here, who is a different culture, she is Noi Trevan. Noi Trevan is from this region here, from the north of Rudaur. She basically offered to take over the colony and become my vassal. There is a chance that the event will backfire and she will instead trick you and she will not become your vassal. She did, however, become my vassal. She's currently in Noi Trevan. She'll probably adopt the Northern Dunedain culture. I did convince her to switch her religion. Her initial religion was that of the Noi Trevan to begin with, which is a hostile religion. And that basically completed the settlement in the sense that I didn't need to build, I think it was neither of the settlements actually, neither of the upgrades. I think she completed the entire colony all by herself, which was amazing to see. So that allowed us to finish this particular expansion, and we're starting the second one. Like I said, Mordor didn't go for the full Kingdom of Ithilien in the first war. They only went for these territories here. I'm pretty sure it's an event that fires in Sauron's play, because they're actually in separate duchies, and he shouldn't be able to conquer territories in two separate duchies except through an event. Because of that, once he got a truce, it took a while for the truce to finish. Now they're in the second war, and this one is for the Kingdom of Ithilien. He is probably going to win this war as well. However, it's already the year 3015. By the time he finishes this war, by the time the truce finishes, we'll be able to get into Gondor safely, unless shenanigans happen with the Witch King, which would be annoying. We don't exactly have the same courtiers. We had a slight change in the courtiers we have as well. I did manage to get one of my family members married to a skin changer. They're now having children, and the first child we've got is this boy here who happens to have blood of Numenor 5, is a skin changer, has a couple of attributes as well. This is an amazing character to have. I was really lucky to get this particular mixture because Aragorn is gonna have one son and three daughters, and this is an excellent candidate to marry to one of the daughters, if we can. His skills are slightly different as well. We did manage to get eccentric, which is amazing because his monthly lifestyle experience gets a bonus of plus 20% at the cost of 50% stress gain. The skills that we managed to get are in the sense of the traits, they're different as well. We managed to get aggressive attacker. We didn't get the cavalry leader, but aggressive attacker is better because you inflict more enemy fatal casualties anyway. One of the books you can go through because you get two. One of them has a guaranteed military engineer. Um, it is absolutely a no-brainer to get it because it decreases siege phase time, which will allow us, especially after he levels through them, which will allow us to move through sieges quickly. Um, his his lifestyle skill set was different to begin with as well. We didn't start with as many points in the strategist branch. We started with a lot more in the overseer branch. Um, and with the first event for Divine the Stars, we got a buff towards diplomacy instead, so I sunk some points in diplomacy to get defensive negotiations so we can get an alliance, and forced vassalage and a point in befriend as well. It's going to be important later on. I've now switched to military because we got the buff for the military and we need to get these points done anyway. Hopefully we'll get to see a lot of fast-paced advancement through that skill tree. Because I got befriend in diplomacy, I used it to make quite a few more friends than what Aragorn starts with. So he now has a bunch of friends. This is gonna play well into confidence and friendly counsel as well. So we're gonna benefit from that later on, but that's not an emergency. Right now, what is an emergency is to get the military skills so we're prepared to fight Mordor, and then immediately switch to wealth so we can get architect, followed by avaricious. So I think that's the major differences. We're working on a second colony simply because I didn't have to spend that much money on this one. No more fires to burn down the colony, no more nothing like that. It just completed on its own basically, which was extremely stupidly lucky. And we're now roughly in the same time period, and Aragorn is about to go on his second historical endeavor. So we're gonna send him to Imladris with the best option he can get. Let's see if we can send him to these points. We can. Can we send him to the third one as well? We can, but it's danger. No, we cannot. So only the two. We'll send him to the two. And off he goes. Apparently a friendship failed there. We'll switch this to fill coffers. And we'll see what happens during this war. Oh yeah, this time around the AI has decided that it wanted to station the orc warriors here for some reason. At the beginning of the save, Sauron had actually Olog-hai, the trolls, stationed here. I'm not sure why he changed to orc warriors. It's incredibly amazing that he did that, but there we have it. So, we do want to gain some more traits. We could go through some of the other ones, but I think the Last Alliance is still the best one to go through, simply because it offers defense and logistics. So we're gonna go through it, just for the chance of those. We're not gonna take Sailor, we're gonna try to increase Stewardship, we got it. Don't care about the aggressive attacker, we'll be leveling that quickly. Diplomacy lifestyle might be good, we got it. Please give me defensive trait. He did not give it to me. We could go for Journaler. It would be one more learning that could come in useful. We didn't get it. Logistics, maybe? We didn't get logistics either. Well, that's nice. We did get Poet, though. We're gonna go through the legendary first stage again. Let's see if we get learning. We did not. So, if you absolutely want to get the military engineer, then the one you want to go for is the first stage of Tuor and the Fall of Gondolin. This will give you access to this military engineer trait. It is guaranteed if you select the right option. There is no chance, you simply spend faith, I think it was. I could use a military book, so I'm gonna go through the Siege of Angband. Maybe we'll get defensive. Still don't get it. Learning, diplomacy, we'll go for diplomacy. Oh, we got the cavalry leader again. Stewardship, intrigue, shrewd. Let's go for stewardship. Learning, diplomacy, or stewardship. I'll go for stewardship. We got it again. Diplomacy, we got that as well. Some more fighting happening in the south. Oh yes, we also got the Wise Man trait. If you don't know what that does, I'll show it to you in a moment. Martial or learning. Martial is more urgent. That's the end of that activity, and we get a magnificent book about warfare, so we'll be keeping that. Because previously we got the Last Alliance for diplomacy. Very well, he can serve me. We can switch to this book now, so we level military faster. We do get to choose between confidence and adaptive traditions. Now, if we get adaptive traditions, we'll be closer to flexible truces. However, because I have eccentric, the stress gain is... we gain stress, a lot more stress with each event. We get 50% more stress. That's a pretty nasty debuff. So I'm thinking we get confidence because each friend adds minus 5% stress gain to a maximum of 5. So because we have a lot of friends, we're gonna get minus 25. So that's gonna limit the amount of stress we gain, and we still have enough to get 1 point in adaptive traditions. We'll get flexible truces later anyway. So that was the end of that. Let's try to cure this gentleman. That worked. Right, so okay, let's not get stung by mosquitoes. So the wise man trait, um, it's useful for healers, but if your main character has it, then you can hold a mystical communion every 5 years. It's just a decision. It will cost you 100 piety, and in return you get 300 learning lifestyle experience and divine guidance for 5 years. You also advance through the wise man trait. You get 3 experience, which is not a lot considering you need to get 100 to level this to the maximum amount. That means you need to fire it some 33 times unless you can get experience some other way. So that's a that's a lot of time needed to get to the maximum amount. Well, it doesn't really matter if you level it to the max or not, because the only bonuses you get from Wise Man directly is the learning increase, which I think even at the maximum level is a maximum of +3, which is great, but it's not that much. We don't need to worry about it. The only reason it's good is because it basically allows us to level through the learning lifestyle without actually going through the learning lifestyle. So I already got pedagogy to give my words additional skills and maybe to make them friends. This is one of the most important ones to get. There are other good ones, such as the increased development in county efficiency. This is going to be very important. The cultural fascination progress is also good. Learn on the job, you get 20% of counselor's primary skills added to your own. There's a bunch of good stuff in the scholar tree. We will be going for it in a bit, but for now, what we are doing is we're trying to finish this colony as well, and we're allowing time to pass. Well supplied colony. I have the highest chance. Let's see if it fires. It did, which is great. Another skill point. We really need to finish that strategist branch because the war with Mordor is gonna be very difficult, the first war. But we will see what happens. The thing that concerns me is that the Witch King is basically just gonna follow up Sauron's invasion with his own invasion, and that Denethor won't have enough troops to resist him. It's probably what's gonna happen. We have a bit more fighting going on in the south. The Tejin Confederacy stayed evil. They do have an event. Ooh. Oh yes, please. Yes, please. And thank you. They do have an event where they have a revolt, basically, because the game starts with this particular character in control of the Tejin Confederacy, and he will pass away swiftly after the game starts. And then there will be a civil war for what religion to continue in the kingdom. Apparently it stayed evil in this safe play. And there's a bit of fighting going on from um, Anbal Kumagan towards Belakar. Belakar is going to be an ally later on, and Anbal Kumagan is an evil faith populated by Karadunaic people, which are an offshoot of Númenórean people mixed with the natives in the south over the many centuries that have passed since the island of Númenor has been sunk. Uh, we will be expanding this settlement, I think. What is going on with this war? You are not winning as fast as I thought you would, which is good because it buys me time. We only have 2 more years at this point. We desperately need to get a few more points in the strategist focus. I spent a bit too much time in the diplomacy focus, but it should serve us well. Maybe we can get a good alliance. Maybe we can ally with Galadriel if we're lucky, who apparently is losing a war for reclaiming the elven homelands. Dol Guldur has managed to expand a bit more in this particular save, and Anduin Vale isn't doing as great as it did in the previous save as well. We have our supply capacity. The next ones we're gonna prioritize are gonna be the army movement and the retreat losses, probably. Either that or the army movement and the envelopment. Um, he has excellent skill, so we don't need to worry about that. We do not want to spend money on cakes. Isengard has completed the takeover of Dunland. Saruman now has an empire title. He has the dominion of Isengard. He doesn't start with that. He is still for the same lidless eye faith. He could change this later on. He's fighting against Theoden. Yeah, sure. He's fighting against Theoden and losing, which is surprising because he has access to some very strong infantry. But apparently Rohan has him beat. Eomer has grown up. He's a bit older now. He's no longer a child. So has Eowyn. have access to the same kind of troops. We won't be able to recruit Dunedain Wardens, Ragers, and Outriders anymore, so having them already in the army is the only way to increase them in the near future. We will be switching Aragorn back to Northern Dunedain culture, but not straight away. Uh, you'll get why soonish. Here's the Mystical Communion. We're gonna fire that. And we get here the chance to increase one of our stats. There's a 33% chance that it will increase. I think we need more martial, so let's go for that. It failed, it did not increase. That's unfortunate. How is the war between Rohan and Isengard? Rohan won. Rohan is fine. Thank you, Galadriel. That's very nice of you. And apparently Theodred is still alive, which is amazing because usually by this point in the game he is long dead. And when Theoden dies, Eomer takes over if Theodred is dead. We are going to take Organized March for sure. And here comes the event in just a month, which is great. So here we go, the Throne of the Southern Kingdom. Feel free to pause that and read it if you want to. We can decide at this point that we will not go for the Reunited Kingdom. This is what this option does. It keeps you in the north. However, we will not be taking this. We will be taking the full reunification. And now a bunch of things are gonna happen. First of all, the Return of the King happens. We get a reprieve from Wildman Adventures for 5 years. We gain a bunch of artifacts. He adopts Gondorian culture. We get the High Kingdom of Gondor, the High Kingdom of Arnor, the Stewardship of Gondor, and a couple of territories. And the Paths of the Dead gets a special building. So if we take a look at the special buildings map, this is what it's referring to. Currently it has a massive debuff to holding taxes and to health and development. You get more dread, defender advantage, 4th level. However, this will change it, I think. Yes, it removes all of the debuffs. It sanctifies it, basically. It changes it from the City of the Dead to the memorial to the Men of the Mountain. Basically, it makes it safe to go through that region from a canon point of view. And we get the Return of the King. Feel free to pause and read. We get a bunch of artifacts. We also get Eladan, who is Elrond's son, asking us to surrender the Shards of Narsil. You can choose not to. This is what this option does, to not surrender the Shards of Narsil. However, you do want to give him the Shards of Narsil, because he's gonna take them away and reforge them, and you're gonna get Narsil. So you absolutely want this. That's very nice. That's very nice of you. So we're back in Gondor now. We get a bunch of cash, we get a bunch of fame, some piety. We get some additional men. We'll have a look at those in a moment. Someone is raiding me. Yes, so what happens now is that a bunch of territories accept to be my vassals automatically. In particular, this territory and this territory, they become vassals. The Shire becomes a tributary. It does not become a vassal. Bree also becomes a vassal. Um, Buckland does not become a vassal. However, Saraline does become a vassal, usually. And apparently we also got one of the territories here, which is odd, to say the least. You don't usually get one of these as a vassal, but apparently we did. And some more territory in Enedwaith. Uh, in the Druaith Yaur kingdom. And in the kingdom of Enedwaith proper, for some reason. Again, usually you don't get all of these vassals. Usually it's just Saraline. Apparently we also get this lovely vassal as well, which is good. We're being graded in multiple places apparently. We could found the Holy Order. We won't just yet. We will be doing that shortly. We did get Minas Tirith. We are getting Pelennor as well, which is the wall enclosure around Minas Tirith, which apparently has been restored. And we're getting the castle in Marith, just north of Minas Tirith as well. Denethor is now in charge of just Osgiliath. We will be expanding on that in just a bit. If we have a look at the artifacts we gained, we do get the Scepter of Anuminas, which currently doesn't give us the full benefit because our primary title is neither the Reunited Kingdom, Numenor in Exile, Arthedain, or Arnor. We will be getting the Reunited Kingdom in a bit, and we will be trying to get the Realms of Numenor in Exile as well. This is the long secret achievement, this will take some time to get. We also got the Crown of Gondor and the Elendilmir of Valandil. There's a bit of lore behind this one. This is a crown, effectively. It is a good one. However, the Crown of Gondor is actually better. This gives you more stewardship. We will be going for the Crown of Gondor simply because it gives more renown. It increases the domain and vassal limit as well, which is useful. So let's let it play out a bit. We have an invitation to a hunt. We could do this. It's close by, actually. Yes, let's actually. Picking up some hunting skill would serve us well. We have another Dynasty Legacy point. We will continue down the path of noble veins. Who is raiding where? This is not my territory. This is... he's going away, I don't care. Yes, the Royal Court. The Royal Court has artifacts as well. We have a Throne of Gondor, which will give us more renown, and we have a book, which gives us more renown. We have the Palantir of Minas Arnor as well. We have some dynasty banners. And we need to increase the amenities here. Let's do lodgings. This should work for now. Our income has skyrocketed, and if we look at the military we've inherited Gondorian footmen, which are spearmen. They have considerably lower stats than the Dunedain Wardens. They counter the same kind of troops. They do come in groups of 100 rather than 50. 61, 88, 39, 36. So because the group is twice the men, they will end up doing more damage because it's 39 times 2. It's basically about 80 damage. However, they do have less survivability, considerably less. Uh, they do get bonuses, different bonuses though. Debatable which one is better. I tend to favor the Dunedain Wardens. We also got the Guards of the Citadel, which are fairly good heavy infantry. They only counter spearmen though, which isn't great. We got the Rohirrim heavy cavalry and the two trebuchets, which is basically nothing. And like I was saying, the troops you can recruit, you lose access to these. You do gain access to Guards of the Citadel, which is the heavy infantry. You get access to the Gondorian footmen, which are the spearmen. You also get Gondorian bowmen, which are regular archers that counter skirmishers and heavy infantry, which is very useful. Ithilien Rangers are another kind of archer. They do massive damage, 73 compared to 49. They have 61 toughness compared to 91 toughness. So they have lower toughness, but they do more damage. And they also counter elephant cavalry and monsters compared to light cavalry and monsters. So they're very good. Um, I doubt we're going to run into elephants though. So limited use. We'll see how many Ologhai Sauron gets. Right now, it looks like he's working on his second group, so we may be getting some Ithilien Rangers as well. We will be needing to counter his heavy infantry, of which he has a lot. The scouts and the Caragors we will be able to handle them just with the Dunedain Wardens though, so that won't be a problem. We can probably get rid of these footmen, they're basically useless. But we do need to counter his heavy infantry because he has 6,000. He can probably summon more. We'll need to be able to defend ourselves from him. The Witch King is probably gonna have a similar situation. We get an event here to change the name. In canon, he changes his name to Tar Elisar. We'll do the same. Oh, there we go. We're being raided by the Witch King. We will not allow that to happen. Thank you very much. We will raise our troops. We could remain House Isildurioni. However, in canon, he becomes the House of Telkontar. So we're gonna do the same, which should give us another banner, which is a very good banner to have. They both give us more renown. We do fulfill the requirements. We do not, however, fulfill the requirements for the Isildurioni house banner anymore. So displaying this would be pointless at this point, other than just for the design of it. It does have a cool design. If we want to see it, that's the design of it. but we will be displaying the LND Leone dynasty banner instead. And let's see if we can repel these guys in time. Can you please move faster? We will not be able to repel them in time. I am currently busy. Go fight them. At least we can recover our what they stole. So here we're given a choice between who to marry. We can marry Arwen, we can marry Eowyn, or uh, Lothiriel is related to the Prince of Dol Amroth. You do get a chance to not sunder Arwen from her people. However, we will be doing that. We'll be marrying Arwen. We'll have to organize a wedding in that sense. We have a time limit for it. We've recovered what the Witch King stole. Unfortunately, he did steal it first. So now we can disband the troops. We're gonna wait for Aragorn to come back. And then we're gonna organize the wedding and go through a bunch of stuff because now we have more decisions to play around with. However, if I just quickly check how long I've been recording, we are now at about an hour time of recording, so we will be ending this episode here, and I'll see you in the next episode. Like, subscribe if you enjoy the content, leave a comment. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.